wake up, it's time to be free. Wake up, was blind, now I see. Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Wake up, it's time to be me. Wake up, my mind is the key.
Welcome to another episode of the Daily Jules. It's Julian Gordon here, and I am dropping nuggets of wisdom to help you increase your degrees of freedom. It does not matter how much money you make. What really matters is how you actually make money. It doesn't matter how many college degrees you have. What really matters is your degree of freedom. And so that's what we focus on here at the Daily Jules and on this daily show, Mondays through Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. New episodes are released. And today I have something that I think is going to bless you, something that I think is going to transform the way you think about money, because money is one tool that we use on the path to freedom. The only reason people really want money is because it's one of the most liquid forms of capital that is out there. We have our personal capital, we have our intellectual capital, we have our social capital, we have physical capital, we have human capital, and then we have financial capital. And financial capital is the easiest one to convert into those other 5 forms of capital quickly. And this is why people are so adamant about having more money, because it's the most liquid of them all. Whereas if I have social capital, in order to transfer that into what I ultimately want, it could take longer, and in some cases you can actually get what you want faster than money can get it for you via social capital. So it all depends, but we got to get clear on our desires. And so for those of you who are still building and trying to get your bars up in terms of your financial capital, I want to share with you a sequence and a process and the way I think about money that may help you as you go along on your journey. I don't know if you remember from elementary school when you were learning, you were learning basic math. In elementary school, we learned PEMDAS, right? And PEMDAS was PEMDAS, right? So that was parentheses. This is how you approach math equations. Parentheses, then exponents, then multiply, then divide, then add, and then subtract, right? That's how we were taught in elementary school. Now, what I teach is millionaire math. I want you to understand the basics of millionaire math. And there is a lot of math that you probably went through from K through 16 and grad school, etc., that is irrelevant to your life, right? But there are some, math is really important, and there are some elements of math that are important for you to understand in order to move towards becoming a millionaire and having that. And a millionaire can be defined in many different ways. You have $1 million saved, $1 million in cash right now? Is your net worth $1 million? Are you making $1 million a year? What is a millionaire? So people always have this target, oh, I want to be a millionaire, but what does that really mean? Okay, so I want to share with you a different sequence when it comes to millionaire math. This is what we were taught in K through 16 math, but in millionaire math, the sequence is actually a little bit different. Not actually a little bit different. It's actually a lot different. And so let me share it with you. It is SDAME. All right, SDAME, and I'm going to break that down for you right now. So when you're thinking about trying to grow your financial capital, the first thing you have to do is you have to subtract, right? You have to subtract. You have to let go of things that aren't supporting you in moving towards your vision and your mission and your goals and your dreams. So some of you have nicer cars than I do, but have I have a higher net worth, right? Some of you have nicer phones than I do. Some of you have nicer clothes. Some of you go on more trips and vacations than I do. Some of you have nicer homes that are actually trapping you as opposed to liberating you and freeing you. And so we have to figure out what we can actually release from what we're earning, what we're earning in terms of revenues from our employer. Remember, we don't call that income. What you get from your employer is not income, okay? In a business, income is revenues minus expenses. So what you're actually getting from your employer is revenues, and then off come all of your living expenses, and your income is actually what's left at the end of the month. but of course they call it your income or your income tax, etc. You're getting taxed on the top, but a business get on your revenues, but a business gets taxed on its income after expenses. So just be very mindful of this language. So subtraction means really getting clear on what I can release and let go that's not serving me, that's not helping me get to where I ultimately want to go. Oftentimes those are things that we spend money on to try to please other people or to fill insecurities inside ourselves. We look nice on the outside only to mask what's actually happening on the inside. Okay, so we have to subtract. When on my journey to becoming extremely free, my living expenses were pretty low because I didn't have a lot of the fluff. I wasn't trying to keep up with the Joneses or anything like that. And I lived very simply after college. I didn't feel like, oh, I got a college degree. Oh, I need to get a dope car and I need to rush to get into a home. I lived very simply. And so actually I didn't have to do a lot of subtraction because I just took my college lifestyle and I just translated that into my adulthood lifestyle. But a lot of people think, oh, I've graduated, now I got to do adult things and I got to buy adult things, right? Actually, I kept my cost of living as low as possible for as long as I could, and this helped me in this stage. Okay, so from there you want to do the next thing, which is divide. So subtracting is lower expenses, and then dividing is budgeting, right? Dividing is budgeting. My wife just found this great online application called YNAB, you need a budget.com, and it's a powerful tool. And what it encourages you to do is it encourages you to give an assignment to every dollar that comes in terms of your revenues from your employer or your income from your business. Every dollar has an assignment. Whether it's going to your savings, whether it's going to a trip, whether it's going to food, whether it's going to rent or a mortgage, whether it's going to car note, every dollar has an assignment. So at the end, once you planned it out properly, there's no dollars left that don't have an intention behind it. And so when you become very intentional about how you use money, this energy, this tool, this resource, then it actually causes you to relate to it in a very different way. And of course, there are emergencies that might throw a budget off in a particular month, but overall, you want to have a budget and you really want to know what that number is. And what's interesting is that the lower your budget number is, the easier it is for you to be free. And so so watch this. People who are quote unquote low income, they actually know how to have a degree of happiness at a lower level of income than somebody who might be at a high income. And that actually makes it easier for them to become free. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but the lower your cost of living, the easier it is to become free. If you feel like you need $12,000 a month or $20,000 a month to be happy and have the life that you truly desire, you're gonna have to create some huge value in the world for other people in order to acquire that. Whereas if you know how to have a joyful life off of $4,000 a month, $6,000 a month, then it's actually easier for you to get to $6,000 a month than it is to get to 20. So that's just something to be aware of. So from here, you go to subtract, then you divide. Then you start adding. Once you have this budget, right, and you've gotten everything under wraps, then you start adding. And adding is basically saving, right? Adding is basically saving. You allocate some of your budget to saving $100, $200, $300, $400 a month. And now you're adding to your wealth, right? But we know that savings accounts don't operate at a very high level. There's not a huge return from there. So you want to continue to upgrade. And this is where you want to go into multiplying. Multiplying. And typically the way we multiply is through investments and entrepreneurship. Okay? And so if you know the parable of the talent from the Bible, one guy was given 5 talents and another guy was given 2 and another guy was given 1. And the person who had 1 went and buried their talents in the dirt so that when it was time to reclaim them, they would have at least that talent. That's saving, right? And then the other 2, the person who got 2 and the other person who got 5, they doubled their talent. They doubled their talents. They multiplied them by 2 right? And they brought that back to the person who had initially given them the talents. And so this is the stage of multiplication. The person who just buried it and put it in the dirt, they got shunned and they got berated for not using this tool that they were given with time to actually multiply it. Okay, but then where we ultimately want to be, and this is a hard place to get to. I won't say that I'm here yet. I'm here, but not here. This is exponential. This is exponential. And this is where you actually become an investor. Now, becoming an investor is it's a very relationship-based game. I talked to you about the 6 forms of capital earlier on. Exponential growth happens when you get in and you're able to be at the table to invest in Facebook in its beginning stages before it even IPOs and goes on the stock market. I would say Facebook, I think, IPO'd at $38 and now it's like $180. I forgot how many years ago that was, but I would consider that investor too. But there are people who get in even earlier than that, venture capitalists, etc., who have had exponential returns from that investment. And so a lot of times, in order to get into the door, a lot of times you have to have a lot of money, or you have to have the right relationship in order to actually grow your money exponentially. With compound interest over time in the stock market, you start to get to some exponential growth. But oftentimes in those models that people use for compound interest, they use percentages like 7% and 10%. If you could go get 7 to 10% right now, I would say put your money there, right? And if that was guaranteed, but that's not the real actual returns year after year after year after year after year for 30, 40 years in the stock market, right? And so this is millionaire math, okay? This is what I call millionaire math, or one example of millionaire math. And this is the kind of math you need to know and be aware of to reach your financial goals. And having your financial goals met is one step on the path to freedom. First and foremost, there's mental freedom, right? Then there's financial freedom, and then there's time freedom. And once you have all 3 of those in place, you are going to be in a good place in terms of actually feeling free every single day of your life. Okay. So this is Julian Gordon with another episode of the Daily Jules. I hope that this episode blessed you. We are letting go of PEMDAS, what we were taught through the K through 12 public education system, and we are going to subtract first, divide, add, multiply, and then move towards exponential growth. All right. So with that, please share this episode with anybody who you think will be blessed by it, and I will catch you in the next episode of the Daily Jules. Peace. I hope these mindsets, metaphors, and methodologies blessed you. If you desire more freedom, go to getfreenow.com to subscribe to the show on iTunes, YouTube, or Facebook, and get 4 of my best courses in the Freedom School for 100% free.